See, in Power BI, we have a different type of components. One is that a Power BI desktop. One is that a desktop. Another one is that a services, and third one is that report server, report server, and fourth one is that a data gateways, and fifth one is that mobile apps. Okay, let's say these are the major components. Okay, let's say if we coming to first one, Power BI desktop. In this Power BI desktop itself, we can implement that complete development activity. It means to say here itself we can extract the data. Here itself we can extract the data, and we can extract the data, and as well as we can implement that data modeling activity, and we will implement that transformations, and we will implement that data modeling activity. Then we can implement that data visualization process. Finally, we can implement that data visualization process. This complete development activity we can implement here itself. Once this data visualization activity has been completed, okay, see here in this Power BI desktop, we will implement complete development activity here itself. It means to say data extraction and data transformations and data modeling and data visualization activity here itself. We can implement that. Once the data visualization activity has been completed, let's say this process for end user accessing point of view, we can publish whatever the reports we have implemented on Power BI desktop. That report we can publish on either Power BI services or Power BI report server. We can publish either Power BI services or Power BI report server. These two are that Power BI services and Power BI report server are that web applications. Let's say here in this Power BI services is cloud platform. So it can maintained by Microsoft people. Microsoft people అనే వాళ్ళు ఇంట్లో దీని మీద సాఫ్ట్వేర్ మెయింటెనెన్స్ అంతా కూడా వాళ్ళ చేతుల్లో ఉంటుంది. Let's say these Power BI services, every month they will release one updated version. Every month they will release one updated version. So every month they will release one updated version. Okay, let's say in these Power BI services we can implement various kind of operations like sharing the reports, scheduling the reports, and creating the dashboards. These major three activities we can implement on Power BI services. Let's say if we come to another component, this another component is that Power BI report server. This Power BI report server is also web application. Let's see here this Power BI report server is under our on-premises environment. Let's say so on-premises environment, so it can maintain by us. Okay, then maintain system. Let's say here we cannot able to prepare the dashboards, except that we can able to prepare two things like sharing the reports, and as well as we can scheduling the reports. Sharing the reports and scheduling the reports, two activities we can able to implement with that. Okay, two activities we can able to implement with that. Once this process scheduling sharing activity, let's say here in report server, every 3 months they will release one updated version. Every 3 months they will release one updated version. Let's say if we come into this data gateways, let's say this data gateway is a bridge between on-premises data source to cloud platform. Let's say on-premises databases means which is installed on our system, and let's say cloud platform means it's the Power BI services. Let's say Power BI services and this data, our on-premises environment, we need some connection to updating the data on daily basis. So for that we will use it as a data gateway. It is a free software. Let's say we can install and we can use this. Let's say this Power BI desktop. Power BI desktop majorly it is having 4 components. Again, this Power BI desktop majorly it is having 4 components. Let's say one is that Power Query. Power Query. Second one is that Power Pivot. Power Pivot. Third one is that Power Map. Third one is that Power Map. And fourth one is that Power View. These are the 4 components it is having on Power BI desktop. Let's say here they will ask some interview questions. Let's say what are the components is available on Power BI desktop, and here they will ask, let's say, what are the components we have in Power BI. Let's say if they ask what are the components is available on Power BI means, then you need to explain yesterday class. Let's say if they will ask what are the components is available on Power BI desktop means, then you need to explain these 4 components. 4 components. Let's say what is the Power Query? What is the Power Query? We will see detailed point of view. Okay. Let's say for that I am opening this Power BI desktop. For that I am opening this Power BI desktop. Okay. See here. Whenever you are opening this Power BI desktop, it will open this window. Let's see here, you need to click on this transform tab. Whenever you click on this transform tab, it will open one new window. This window we can call it as Power Query Editor. Let's say in Power BI desktop, once again I'm repeating, let's say whenever you want to click, let's say if you click on this transform tab, it will show the transform data, or if you click on upper transform data, it's simple మీద click చేసినారు అంటే it will directly open one new page, new window. That new window we can call it as Power Query Editor. Power Query Editor. In this Power Query Editor, majorly we can implement data transformations activity. Data transformations is nothing but data modifications. Let's say, for example, whatever the client has provided and that data, if I want to remove 10 rows, then that I will implement here itself. Let's say in that data it's having any kind of changes, that the data changes also we can implement here itself. Okay, in Power Query majorly we can implement that data transformations. Let's say here also we can able to extract the data, and as well as from Power BI desktop also we can able to extract that data. Okay, let's see here from here how we can extract means, let's say here we have this new source option it is having. Whenever you are clicking on new source option, let's say it will show that only few options it will display to us. Let's see if you click on more option, it will show that it will open that get data window. Let's say if you extracted, if you click on here also, if you click on this get data option also, if it will open get data window only. If you extract from anywhere, from Power Query also, from Power BI desktop also, both would be same only. Okay, once again I'm repeating. Let's say Power BI service plus Power Query లో నుంచి డేటా ఎక్స్ట్రాక్ట్ చేసుకున్నా కూడా, Power BI desktop లో నుంచి డేటా ఎక్స్ట్రాక్ట్ చేసుకున్నా కూడా రెండు ఒకటే. ఇక్కడైనా మీకు గెట్ డేటా అనే ఆప్షన్ ఉంటుంది. మీరు ఈ గెట్ డేటా మీద క్లిక్ చేసి మోర్ ఆప్షన్స్ అనేది క్లిక్ చేసినారు అంటే మీకు ఓపెన్ అయ్యే విండో గెట్ డేటా విండోనే. ఓకే, పవర్ క్వెరీ ఎడిటర్ లేకొచ్చి ఇక్కడ మీరు న్యూ సోర్స్ మోర్ అనే ఆప్షన్స్ క్లిక్ చేసినా కూడా మీకు ఓపెన్ అయ్యే విండో ఏంటి అంటే గెట్ డేటా విండోనే. ఓకే, ఇక్కడైనా కూడా మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తే గెట్ డేటా విండోనే డిస్ప్లే అవుతుంది. లెట్స్ సీ వన్స్ మీకు గెట్ డేటా విండో అనేది డిస్ప్లే అయిన తర్వాత, లెట్స్ సీ which of the source you are thinking to select, that source you need to select. Let's say here right now for initial day perspective I'm connecting with Excel. Let's say click on Excel, connect. Let's see connect. Let's say simple understanding purpose I'm selecting this financial table. Let's say open that. Let's see, in Excel, each sheet will behave it as a one table. Let's say in Excel, whatever the sheets is available, that all sheets it will show to here. Let's say in that sheets, whatever the tables you want, you need to select. Let's say here I'm thinking to select only one table. Let's say that is financial. So I'm clicking OK. I'm clicking OK. Once I click on OK, then it will load that data into our Power BI desktop. Let's see. Is that data loaded into Power BI desktop or Power Query editor? We need to get that clarity. Okay. See, observe. Let's say now I have loaded that data into Power Query editor. Let's see if we observe here in field tab. Is there any data? Is there any table information?
No.
No, it haven't loaded Power BI desktop. Let's say here if it is having any data modifications, we can implement. Once the data modifications has been completed, then you need to click on close and apply. Whenever you click on close and apply, that time only it will load the data into Power BI desktop. మీరు ఎప్పుడైతే లోడ్ అండ్ క్లోజ్ అండ్ అప్లై క్లిక్ చేస్తారో అప్పుడు మాత్రమే డేటా అనేది పవర్ బిఐ డెస్క్టాప్ లకి లోడ్ అవుతుంది. లెట్స్ సే అదే కానీ మీరు ఇక్కడ ఆప్షన్ ఇక్కడ ఉండే గెట్ డేటా ఆప్షన్ యూజ్ చేసి డేటా ఎక్స్ట్రాక్ట్ అనేది ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ చేసినాము అంటే లెట్స్ సే సేమ్ ఫైల్ ఐఎమ్ ఎక్స్ట్రాక్టింగ్ ఫినాన్షియల్ శాంపుల్ ఓపెన్ see here observe. Let's say in this downside it is showing two options. One is that load data, another one is that transform data. One is that load data and another one is that transform data. Let's say here if you click on load data, directly that data will be loaded into Power BI desktop. If you click on transform data, it will move to Power Query editor. Let's say now for clarification I'm clicking load. See, observe that financial 2 has been loaded. Let's say again I'm implementing that, extracting that same file. So click on work, Excel worksheet, financial sample and click on OK. Let's say when I'm clicking here, transform data. Let's see when I click on transform data, directly it will open that Power Query editor. The data will be not load into Power BI desktop. Let's say if you want, you can observe Power BI desktop, how many tables it is having. Is that third finance table is loaded or not?
No, still not.
Not loaded. Let's say if you want to load, then you need to click on this close and apply. Let's say for example, assume before loading to this Power BI desktop, here I don't want these columns as a country. I don't want country column. I don't want product column. I don't want discount brand. I don't want. Let's say this 4 column. I don't want. So for that, I'm implementing simply remove columns. Simply I'm doing remove columns option. So remove columns option. In this table, that too, I don't want this many rows of information. In this one, I don't want this many tables of this many rows of information. Let's say I want to only first 10 rows of information. So for that, what we will do means keep tab. Let's say I want to see that only 10 rows. Let's say only 10 rows I'm keeping and the remaining rows information I'm removing. Let's say here I did this kind of modifications and simply I'm clicking on close and apply. So now you can observe this financial 3 table is loading into Power BI desktop. Financial 3 is loading into Power BI desktop. See, now you can observe that financial 3 is there or not. Whatever the modifications you have implemented on Power Query editor, that modifications is applied or not?
Yes. Yes, sir, applied.
Whatever the modifications we have implemented on Power Query level, those modifications is implemented. So that too, this kind of activities we can implement on Power Query editor. In Power Query editor, we can implement that data modifications, data transformations we can implement there. Let's say detailed point of view we will see once the overview has been completed. Okay. Let's say next component is that power pivot. Next component is that power pivot. Let's say here that power pivot. In this power pivot, let's say in this power pivot, as per Power BI desktop, we have two tabs. As per Power BI desktop, power pivot means we have two tabs. These two tabs we can call it as power pivot. Data view, how many ways we can see means, let's say these three views we can see. One is that report point of view we can see, and that another one is that a data point of view we can see. Third one is that modeling point of view we can see. Let's say here they will, let's see here that a data and modeling part we can call it as power pivot. This data part and modeling part we can call it as modeling part we can call it as power pivot. Let's say here we have three tabs basically. Let's say data we can see in 3 point of views. One is that report, and second one is that data, third one is that modeling. Let's say in these three views we can say data and modeling part we can call it as power pivot. ఈ డేటా ట్యాబ్ ను మరియు మోడలింగ్ పార్ట్ ని ఏమంటామంటే పవర్ పివోట్ అంటాము. ఓకే క్లియర్. లెట్స్ సే ఇన్ దిస్ model tab we can implement data modeling activity. In this power pivot modeling tab we can implement data modeling activity. This data model we can say it as heart of the application. While you are working with the real time, let's say in the single report it is having that multiple tables. So if it is not having the proper relationships, it will not give that accuracy result. Let's say here, while you are implementing this data modeling activity, you need to build up that proper relationships between the table. Okay, see this we will discuss on detailed point of view once our SQL has been completed. SQL has been completed. Okay, next part has that data. Let's say in this data tab we can able to see that data on detailed point of view, and as well as in this data tab we can write that data expressions. In this data tab we can write that DAX expressions, data analysis expressions. Let's say in Power BI, whatever the thing you will feel critical, that is DAX. మీరు ఏదైతే డిఫికల్ట్ అని ఫీల్ అవుతారో అది ఏంటంటే డాక్స్ లాంగ్వేజ్. లెట్స్ సే హియర్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ వీ కెన్ ప్రిపేర్ దట్ మెజర్స్. Here itself we can prepare that DAX expressions. With the help of DAX we can perform three kind of operations. That is these three: measure, new table, and new column. Okay, with the help of DAX we can perform these three operations. New measure, new column, and new table. Let's say if we coming to this one, new measure is that predefined operation. Let's say if we write anything on theoretical point of view, they will provide some kind of measures to us. Some kind of measures that we can use. Okay, let's say by default here they has implemented some operations, YTD, QTD, and all operations that we can able to use. Let's say, but if we use, let's say, performance point of view, it will show some impact to us. So better we can write manual expressions, new measures, new columns, and new tables. Let's say this is the thing we will feel it as difficult. Okay, kept it only 100 rows. Let's see, you can clear that step and you can keep it as 50 rows, or you can keep it as 200 rows. Let's say it will keep the 200 rows of information, and it will remove that remaining rows of information. Clear? చేయొచ్చండి ఒక స్టెప్ బ్యాక్ అవన్నీ మనం ఒక స్టెప్ బ్యాక్ ఒక స్టెప్ ఫ్రంట్ వెళ్ళొచ్చు ఓకేనా కాకపోతే ఇన్ పవర్ క్వరీ లెవెల్ ఇట్ విల్ నాట్ వర్క్ కంట్రోల్ జెడ్ అండ్ కంట్రోల్ వై అండూ రీడూ మనకు బేసిక్ గా ఎవరికైనా కూడా చేసే వర్క్ రెగ్యులర్ గా సాఫ్ట్వేర్ లో మనం చేసేది ఏంటంటే కంట్రోల్ జెడ్ కంట్రోల్ వై అనేది క్లిక్ చేస్తాము కంట్రోల్ జెడ్ అండ్ కంట్రోల్ వై విల్ నాట్ వర్క్ ఆన్ పవర్ క్వరీ ఎడిటర్ okay see we will coming into detail point of view power query editor once this topic has been completed once overview has been completed
modify చేసిన ప్రతిసారి అప్లై చేయాలన్నా
క్లోజ్ అండ్ అప్లై చేస్తేనే మీ పవర్ బిఐ డెస్క్టాప్ కి అప్లికబుల్ అయితే okay there whenever you coming to here in power query transform tab let's say in transform tab we have three options while you are clicking close and apply while you are clicking close and apply it will show three options we will discuss one by one what is apply what is close and apply then we will discuss that
okay
that we will discuss today itself on that data whatever is available on this data tab and power bi desktop that data if you want to show that geographical representation then we will go with power map geographical representation it mean to say geographical representation means it mean to say if whenever we want to show that graph wise information like a world map Google map let's say maps wise whenever you want to think to show that information then we will go with the power map let's say this for power map in visualization it is having some visuals like this field map like that it is having some options let's say in whatever in power bi desktop it is showing only these two visuals okay let's say for example let's say how we can see this means okay let's say if you click on any country visual let's say by default it will go to generate this maps visual only whenever you are representing that geographical representation information by default it will show that maps wise information only let's say it's a map wise information when we want to show then we will go with power map let's say power map also inbuilt with the power bi only but they has provided two visuals for that okay next thing is that power view let's say when we want to show that data and graphical representation only difference geographical means map wise graphical representation means remaining visuals these visuals we can say it as graphical representation visuals we can say it as graphical representation visuals of this remaining visuals point of view చూపించడానికి మనం ఏమంటామంటే graphical representation అంటాము okay clear let's say now I'm starting with power query editor let's see once again I'm repeating this power query editor let's say when we are clicking this transform data option let's say it will open that power query editor it will open one new window that window we can call it as power query editor here itself we can implement complete data transformations and let's say for this power query the backend language is M language for this power query the backend language is M language పవర్ క్వరీకి బ్యాక్ అండ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఏంటంటే M లాంగ్వేజ్ అండి ఓకే మీరు పవర్ క్వరీ లెవెల్లో ఏమి ఆపరేషన్ చేసినా కూడా మీకు బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుందంటే M లాంగ్వేజ్ లో జనరేట్ అవుతుంది లెట్స్ సే M లాంగ్వేజ్ అనేది డిస్ప్లే అవుతుంది లెట్స్ సే ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు సీ దట్ M లాంగ్వేజ్ స్క్రిప్టింగ్ దెన్ యూ నీడ్ టు క్లిక్ ఆన్ దిస్ అడ్వాన్స్డ్ ఎడిటర్ ఆప్షన్ let's say in power query if you did any operation let's say for power backend it will generate some M language and it's generated let's see this M language if you want to see next you need to click on this advanced editor whenever you click on this advanced editor option then you can able to see then you can be able to see that M language scripting. M language scripting అనేది చూడగలుగుతారు. Let's say first, while I'm explaining this first option, is let's say I said only close and apply. When I click on close and apply, then only it's applied to modifications. Let's say here it is showing 3 operations. Let's say assume you have implemented 20 operations on Power Query editor. Let's say you want to close this Power Query editor, and let's say whatever the modifications you have implemented on Power Query editor, that modifications need to apply our Power BI desktop. Then we will go to close and apply. మనం పవర్ క్వరీ ఎడిటర్ లో ఏవైతే మాడిఫికేషన్ చేసినామో అన్ని మాడిఫికేషన్స్ కూడా పవర్ బిఐ డెస్క్టాప్ అప్లికబుల్ అవుతూ ఈ పవర్ క్వరీ ఎడిటర్ అనే విండోని క్లోజ్ అయిపోవాలి అనుకుంటే దెన్ we will click on close and apply. Okay, I don't want to close this Power BI desktop. Sorry, I don't want to close this Power Query editor. Let's say whatever the modifications I have implemented on Power Query editor, that modifications need to apply Power BI desktop. That modifications need to apply Power BI desktop. Then simply we will click on apply option. Let's say in first table I'm keeping only top 5 rows. Keep only 5 rows, top 5 rows. Let's say I'm removing that. I'm keeping only 5 rows, and just simply I'm click on apply. Keeping only 5 rows, and let's say you can see this Power BI desktop. It will show that only 5 rows. Let's say Power Query editor window has not closed. Let's say it has not closed. Let's say those kind of scenarios we will go with apply option. Let's say you don't want to, whatever the modifications you have implemented on Power Query editor that you don't want. Let's say I'm step back, but this modifications data I don't want. Let's say simply close. Let's say it hasn't updated the data. Is it updated that information? Let's say మనం స్టెప్ బ్యాక్ అనేది చేసాం కదా, స్టెప్ బ్యాక్ అనేది అప్డేట్ అయ్యి వచ్చిందా మనకు క్లోజ్ చేసింటే?
No, brother.
No. If you want that modification means, then you need to click on close and apply. When you click on close and apply, that modifications will impact our Power BI desktop. Now you can see that the financial table, it's having length of information, full-fledged of information. Okay, next Power BI itself. If you want to create data, then we will go with enter data option. In Power BI itself, if you want to create the data, then it will show that we will use that enter data option. Let's say whenever we want to create small amount of tables, మనం ఏదైనా టేబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి అనుకుంటే, అంటే ఎండ్ యూజర్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ సాటిస్ఫై చేసేదాని కోసము మనం ఏదైనా టేబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకోవాలి అనుకుంటే ఇక్కడనే క్రియేట్ చేసుకుంటాము. ఎంటర్ డేటా ఆప్షన్ ద్వారా క్రియేట్ చేసుకుంటాము. ఓకే, let's say enter data option. Let's say for example, first let's say for this table name I'm providing here downside, like a table name I'm providing it as student. Okay, column name I'm giving it as student name, and some marks column I'm giving it as, let's say just for understanding only, right? So I'm providing A, B, C. Let's say here, if you click on this plus mark, it will add 1 column. Here, if you click on this plus symbol, it will add 1 row. Or else, simply if you click on enter, it will generate new rows. Let's say if you click on side arrow marks, it will generate some new columns. Side arrow marks on our keyboard. Let's say simply I'm clicking OK. Let's say you can observe this table we have created. Let's say if you want to change the table information, let's say I haven't provided this marks information. If I want to provide this information means, let's say if I type here, it won't work. Let's say if we want to change, then you need to click on this source setting symbol. Let's say in applied steps, once again I'm repeating, in applied steps, it is showing source option. If you observe in source option, end of the thing, it is showing one settings symbol. It is visible, right? Visible అవుతుంది కదండి?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's say that symbol, if you click on that symbol, let's say it will again came to that old page only. Then you need to provide that marks, blah 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 values. Then if you click on OK, the data will be entered.